English Language Arts, Module 1 Overview, Grade 7. Reading Closely and Writing to Learn, Journeys and Survival. Guiding Questions. How do individuals survive in challenging environments? How do culture, time, and place influence the development of identity? How does reading different texts about the same topic build our understanding? How do writers use narrative techniques to convey characters' perspectives? Big ideas. Individual survival in challenging environments requires both physical and emotional resources. Using informational writing about historical time, place, or people enriches our understanding of a fictional portrayal of the same time, period, or events. There are 3 units in each module. Each unit has 2 assessments. Mid-Unit 1 assessment. Identifying perspective and using evidence from A Long Walk to Water. Students will complete a graphic organizer in which they gather and make inferences from textual evidence about the differences in perspective of Naya and Salva in A Long Walk to Water. They will respond to an evidence-based selected response item to further demonstrate their progress with analyzing text. This assessment is not meant to formally assess students' writing. Most students will write their responses in the graphic organizer. However, if necessary, students may dictate their answers to an adult. End of Unit 1, On-Demand Written Analysis. Identifying perspective and using evidence from informational text about the Dinka and Nuer tribes. Students will complete a graphic organizer in which they gather and make inferences from textual evidence about the differences in perspective of the Dinka and the Nuer in Sudan from informational text. This is a reading assessment. Students will demonstrate their ability to cite textual evidence that articulates perspective in an informational text, specifically in regard to how history and culture affect social identity. They will respond to a short constructed response question. What is one important way that place shapes the identity of the Dinka and or Nuer tribes? This is also a writing assessment. Students will demonstrate their ability to use textual evidence to support analysis. Mid-Unit 2 assessment, comparing Water for Sudan in A Long Walk to Water. Students will analyze how the author of A Long Walk to Water uses and elaborates on historical facts to convey her idea about how people survive in South Sudan. End of Unit 2 is an on-demand writing, literary analysis, writing about the theme of survival. This assessment has 2 parts. Students will respond to the following prompt. What factors made survival possible for Salva in A Long Walk to Water? And write an essay that addresses the theme of survival in the novel. Support discussion with evidence from the text students have read. Part 1 is students' best on-demand draft. Part 2 is the student's final draft, revised after peer and teacher feedback. Mid-Unit 3 assessment is Author's Craft, the juxtaposition in A Long Walk to Water. Students will reread short sections of the novel and explain how the author of A Long Walk to Water develops and compare Salva's and Naya's point of view to convey her ideas about how people survive in South Sudan. The end of Unit 3 is an on-demand writing. It's the final draft of a hero's journey narrative. Students will revisit an excerpt from A Long Walk to Water and encounter a new informational text about Sudan and will complete selected and constructed response items that ask them to select evidence from the informational text that would best support specific themes or ideas and to justify their choice. The performance task criteria with this module includes students to be crafting and presenting a 2-voice poem, which includes the views and experience of the 2 main characters, Naya and Salva. Factual information about Southern Sudan and the environmental and political challenges facing the people of Sudan during and after the Second Sudanese Civil War. This performance task gives students a chance to demonstrate their understanding of the characters and issues of survival presented in A Long Walk to Water. The research-based two-voice poem includes the following: illustrating the student's view of the theme of survival, lines spoken by Nye and Salva, specific textual evidence, quotes from the informational articles that students have read to illustrate their views, organization so that it clearly expresses their view of the characters and situations, details of standard English conventions appropriate to their poem, punctuation and format correctly in the quotes and citations of sources. The protocols that you will experience in this module include the exit ticket, think, pair, share, back to back and face to face, cold call, World Cafe, take a stand, chalk talk, discussion appointment, and turn and talk. You will want to familiarize yourself with these protocols before teaching and make sure that they are well taught to your students. Students will need support in this module. Some of the ideas that you can use for supporting students and that are included in this module are anchor charts, additional time, sentence stems, sentence frames, and paragraph frames, partially filled in notes, vocabulary supports, chunking of text, displaying and reviewing of learning targets, and review for discussion norms, word walls, audio text, displaying directions, partially filled in charts, paraphrasing, pre-highlighting text that's being used for class discussion, grouping of students, graphic organizers, models of expected work, students given opportunities to reflect on their learning needs, and specific and focused feedback. All these supports are teacher decision and dependent on the students that you get to work with. This is Module 1, Grade 7. Thank you.